guys, guess what? These two are doing all kinds of insane. See, look at that. She's like, what's that? Doing what? No, they're not. They're doing ultimate stuff. But let's go outside. It's sunny. Let's film out here. So listen, we're going to be talking about basically how to get your hips working the way they're supposed to. You got to love CSA. They got this killer outdoor area. Like, look at this. This is fucking badass. Kieran knows what he's doing. I have so much respect for Kieran. But so what we're going to be talking about, let's do this way so we get a little bit of rig in the back. There's water on here, so I hope I don't short out my phone. But all right, so what we're looking at is hip mobility. So the problem with the hip is it sits tight in that joint, and it's a lot tighter than the shoulder. And I know I address the shoulder a lot, but today we're going to talk about the hip. But people get that popping, snapping hip problem. They have a lot of hip issues when they squat or when they jump or when they do explosive movements. So today I'm going to show you how to create some space, how to open up the hips, how to regain all the 360 degree rotation of the hip. Let me try that again. We're going to teach you how to create some space. I'm going to teach you how to open up the hips properly, get all the rotation back, external and internal, give you the ultimate hip mobility hack. All right, so here's what we're going to do. First things first. And we can talk about hip mechanics and how it works with relation to the labrum and the acetabulum. Yeah, I'm looking around for, there's my band. See, it's what happens when you're slightly colorblind, so you can't see shit on a black surface when the object is either red or purple. So what we're gonna do is, first thing we need to do is create some space. So the hip is a little bit unique in that respect because in order to create space, it takes a lot of pull. So I'm gonna use a 1-inch band. If you guys are, or some of you powerlifting guys that follow me, if you're using anything smaller or this small, it's not going to be enough. You're going to need to use a much larger band. So the band is going to be pulling the hip lateral, not posterior. So I'm going to show you what I mean. Let's move the camera a little bit so we're in a better spot. We'll go like this so you can see exactly what I'm doing. So we're going to do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tuck into the band. If I can never get my foot in there. So I'm going to tuck into the band and I'm going to load the band lateral. That's important because having it pull posterior, unless we're going for anything else, is not going to help. You guys are always asking, they're in credit wear sleeves. They're not really knee sleeves, they're like a knee warmer. So I'm going to load it. I'm going to go wide and I'm going to load the band to the side. This is important. And I'm going to get really wide and I'm just going to push myself back while the band, so I'm going to turn just a little bit. So the band will pull a little bit less than lateral because this isn't working so well. So a little less than lateral. Band is pulling slightly back. And I'm just going to allow myself to come back as far as I can. I want my feet turned out. Oh, and that's going to just crank the head of that femur out of the acetabulum. I'm going to hang out like this 2 minutes, and then I'm going to come all the way forward and unload it. That's number one. Number two is we're going to be in almost the same position, but now the band is going to pull at about 20 degrees posterior. So I'm going to load the band. Now we're going to do 3 different movements. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the elbow, band is pulling back. This is going to help work on the adductor group, the hamstring group, the quads. It's going to hit the rotation of the hip capsule itself. So there's a lot of stuff going on. So the band is pulling posterior. We're going to take the elbow, drop it all the way down inside the foot. Hold for how long? 2 minutes. That's number one. Number two is we're going to plant the hand. So I'm not even going to move. Plant the hand, open up this way, hang out for how long? 2 minutes. That's number two. And number three is we're going to take this knee. This is the one, ugly one. Bring your arm out a little bit, and we're going to turn into the open side. So I'm going to push the knee out all the way, and I'm going to bring my chest out and over, not towards the ground in front of my foot. I'm going to come out towards the outside of the foot, and I'm going to hang out again 2 minutes. That is number two. Well, that's miserable, is what that is. All right. Number three is we want to create some opening in that space in there. We want to create the ability to externally rotate the hip and actually get that hip functioning properly independently. See, a lot of times when we squat, we get this wobble in the bottom of the hip or in the bottom of the squat because the hips don't function right. They externally rotate more on one side versus the other. So we drive on the squat up completely backwards and we get this real funky shimmy slide because of the asymmetry. So I'm going to show you a super easy drill to correct it, and this is all the stuff that you're going to do prior to training, prior to squatting. So get outside. I just showed Jeremy this. So you're going to get into your squat stance, right? The band is pulling lateral to the knee, and I'm just going to drop down, pushing out against this. So I'm going to drop down, push out, and then come all the way back up. Push out, come all the way back up. You're going to feel it super high in the hip. Excuse me, I just ate like an entire burrito. So we're going to push out. Make sure this stays engaged because what's going to want to happen is that knee's going to want to fold forward and then you're going to lose that external rotation in that hip and then you're going to wind up chewing up the hip socket. So push out, drop all the way down, keep it engaged all the way back up. 3 sets of 10 and call it a day. And listen, that's it. You want to talk about a hip mobility hack? That's all you got to do. You don't have a bunch of stuff you need to do. There's Jackie. I'm not going to put her in the film, but she's laughing. You can hear her. See, she's laughing. Hey, listen, I'm Trev, SmashweRx, hanging outside in CSA because California is the best place to be. I will check you guys out tomorrow. Have an awesome day.